वो जमाना था जब ये बहुत मुश्किल था, साईं से मुलाकात करने वाले के लिए दिल चाहिए था।
We
जी
are
जी।
live, I think, Kalman. You can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good morning, everyone. From Washington, D.C., I'm Carl Clemens, and today we're here to commemorate the birth anniversary of Sain G.M. Syed, Ghulam Murtaza Syed, who is the icon of Sindhi nationalism today, of the demand for an independent or at least an autonomous Sindhu Desh out of the area currently known as Pakistan. GM Syed is not only iconic for Sindhi nationhood, but his life story is very typical of uh, people fighting for freedom in many other parts of Pakistan as well. GM Syed started off his political career at a very young age, in his teenage years, during the Khilafat movement, when the Islamic Caliphate in Turkey was down by the British Empire. The Indian Muslim community was up in flames, and it was a violent movement. And very often, the violence was directed against fellow Indians of Hindu or Sikh persuasion. It was a violent time, and GM Syed was part of that. What's important to remember here is that when I mention the name GM Syed to people, either it evokes passionate praise for partisans of GM Syed, or amongst the non-Muslim Sindhis, they are sometimes skeptical of him and say that, well, he was as much of an Islamist as Mr. Jinnah. I think what is important to understand here is that there was an arc of change in my life, in his thoughts and actions. I think what we here to celebrate is not every single thing the man said or did, but rather the change within the man that we saw. A change that is possible in millions of men and women who have been born and brought up in the area currently known as Pakistan. So GM started off his career in the Khilafat movement. He was a strong votary of the two nation theory of Muhammad Ali Jinnah. In fact, he was one of the people who passed the only legislative resolution in favor of partition. However, almost immediately after the creation of Pakistan, he was arrested. He was placed in house arrest, and he spent a lot of his life in incarceration under the Pakistani state. The reason is because religion was used by a section of the Pakistani elite to grab power for themselves and deny development and deny freedom to many other areas of Pakistan, especially outside of Punjab. And seeing this, he began to realize certain things about the reality of the slogans behind the creation of Pakistan. And from there, you see GM Syed's philosophy, his ideology evolved to a point where he realized the importance of the Sindhi ethnic identity. And he began to emphasize that since history was being um, distorted or erased, and he began to speak out in favor of that. And as he grew in his ideology and his leanings, he began to understand that the Sindhi identity and the indigenous identity of Sindh was tied in with its syncretic Hindu, Muslim, Sikh culture that is centuries old. It's Sufi Muslim culture. And he began to emphasize the Sufi aspect of Sindh's religious culture. And so we see that arc of change in GM Syed, which, as I said, is the essence of real fundamental change within the region itself. Because we see that the Pakistani Punjabi elite doesn't seem to learn very well the lessons of history, whether it is after the creation of Bangladesh or any other setback. What they tend to do is double down on punching down harder on those that it has power over, or on sucking up harder to the powers that be, rather than trying to think of fundamental change. But if we have to think of fundamental change, we have to start thinking like GM Syed did. And it's only through that sort of change of ideology that real change within the areas that are currently under Pakistani rule is possible. So, to speak on this today, we have a few distinguished people. The first is Zafar Sahito, who is the founder and chairman of the Jeay Sindh freedom movement, and hundreds of his followers in Pakistan, hundreds of the volunteers of the GS and Freedom Movement Pakistan are currently on the streets and facing a backlash from the Pakistani government. And I'm sure he'll talk about that in a minute. We also have with us Razak Baloch Sahab, who is of Baloch ethnicity, but who has had the privilege of having a personal relationship with GM Syed at times when it was very difficult to contact the person who was constantly under surveillance or actually in incarceration or house arrest. He died under house arrest, in fact. So let me now hand it over to Zafar Sain. And if anybody has questions, please put it in the chat function and we'll deal with that at the end. Zafar Sain.
Thank you so much, Karl Bhai. Long live Sindhu Desh, long live Sain G.M. Sayed. Sain G.M. Sayed's 119th birthday anniversary is really important for us because he was the leader who gave us thought of nationalism for historical Sindhi nation, a thought of independent country, separate country. As you mentioned about Saint G.M. Sayed's political struggle from his college to all his life, he never surrendered to Pakistan. He never surrendered. When he stood up against them, there was no point when he just said that okay, I'm done with Pakistan. I don't have today coverage to talk more about this because one of our political worker is died in shooting today in Sun, and 3 4 are injured. They are in hospitals, and lot of our sisters they are arrested in different parts of Sindh, and all night I was just up and was covering these all points. Razak Baloch Sahab and Shahi Sadat from Pashtun City, they will more talk about Saint GM said today. But Pakistani fascist country or state, a terrorist state, had never learned the lesson how they persecuted the suppressed Bangladeshi people the same way they are doing in Sindh and Balochistan. Sindh never joined Pakistan for being a colony. Balochistan was annexed, but Sindh joined Pakistan as a sovereign state. But unfortunately, later on, when Saint G.M. said and our all leaders, elders realized that Pakistan is going to be a Punjab dominated state and religious fanatics, from there our struggle started. I will come to today's rally. These rallies were organized by different organizations, nationalist organizations in Sindh, and there are a lot of even followers who come from all over Pakistan in Sindh to pay the tribute to Sain G.M. Sayed. But Pakistan and Pakistani state agencies, with force, with their brutal barbarism, they have arrested hundreds of political workers, women, children. There was a curfew in Sindh. There was curfew in Sindh. I will request you that if you can play the videos, so we can see that what is going on in Sindh, what is going on in Sun, when Pakistan is claiming that around the world these things are happening, but what is happening in Sindh, we can see in these videos how Pakistani rangers and intelligence agencies are, attacking, shooting fires, straight open fires on our political workers. So, Carl, bhai, can you please these?
Sure. Let me know when you can see my screen.
Yeah.
Did you want me to play another one?
Yes, go ahead.
I have one more. Did you want me to play that
Yeah,
as well? Okay.
yeah, go ahead.
आजादी 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 सिंधु देश 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 आजादी 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 सिंधु देश सिंधु देश आजादी भी मांगे आजादी मजदूर भी मांगे आजादी मजदूर भी मांगे आजादी टीचर भी मांगे आजादी टीचर भी मांगे आजादी जागृत भी मांगे आजादी जागृत भी मांगे आजादी बच्चे भी मांगे आजादी बच्चे भी मांगे आजादी अल्लाह भी मांगे आजादी अल्लाह भी मांगे आजादी मजदूर भी मांगे आजादी मजदूर भी मांगे आजादी है हक हमारा आजादी है हक हमारा आजादी हम शीर मिलेंगे आजादी हम शीर मिलेंगे आजादी
Thank you, Carl bhai. The reason I wanted to play these clips, there is nothing to have a peaceful really, like especially when you are going for birthday celebration or paying tribute. But Pakistani, you saw these boys were not doing anything against, they were not doing any violence, but to stop them, Pakistani Rangers, Punjabi Rangers, and military intelligence, they opened the fire. This is a state of fascism when you are trying to suppress political pupils, when we have a birthright, right to self determination, freedom of speech. And Sain G.M said not only worked on freedom of Sindhu Desh, but he was also connected with Pashtun and Baloch leaders in those days. And he always supported Bangladesh freedom also. So that's why when there was slogans, we can clearly hear that Pashtun bhi mange azadi, Baloch bhi mange azadi. We Sindhi people have always supported cause of freedom of suppressed or oppressed nations or enchained nations by Punjab dominated Pakistan. But these terrorists shameful dictators. They don't have any morality. They are not learning any lesson from Bangladesh. They are continuing same things. They are doing same atrocities against Sindhi people. They are doing same atrocities against Baloch people. They are doing same atrocities against Pashtun people. Today, Razak Sahab and Shahi Sahab, he will be joining shortly. They will ponder on the life of Sain G.M. said. I don't hate much words today because of all night I was up. So I will hand over to you and Sain Razak Saab. Thank you.
Thank you, Sai Zafar Sahito. I will now hand it over to Raja Razak Baloch, who is the Secretary General of the Baloch American Congress based here in the United States. Razak Saab.
सलाम नमस्ते सत श्री अकाल and बलि करे आया आज today is I salute Sain Zafar Sain organizing. I saw the banner in practically in Sindh. The people were carrying Zafar Sain's banner and chanting slogans. Baloch American Congress thank Zafar Sain for this invitation. And Baloch American Congress strongly condemn the high-handedness of Pakistani authorities to directly fire upon the peaceful people who were celebrating the great leader of Sindh. And let me pay tribute to Sain G.M. And I congratulate the Sindhi nation to have a son like Sain G.M. Sayyed, who has gave his whole life, though he was a person who could live his life very easy, compromising with Pakistan. But he preferred to stay in jail in his house, Adar Manzil in Soldier Bazaar, Karachi, was a jail. And we used to go and meet Sain G.M. Sayyed. I have the honor of meeting him with my great Sindhi friends, Nasula Bijarani, Muhammad Khan Jatoi, Anwar Baloch, Juman Sain, Altaf Sain. We used to go sit with him and we used to learn what is all about this artificial country which is named Pakistan. And the great thing about Sain is he not only wrote books to enlighten the whole of Pakistan, other nations living under the occupation of Pakistan, Baloch, Sindhi, Pashtun, Kashmiris, and practically he used to meet people and used to say, he was not mincing his words. He used to say the Pakistan is a curse and we were deceived, we were cheated. And this country, he had a vision of what is coming. See, look, today we are sitting and see that vision that Pakistan is not going to give the other nationalities any rights. Because what happens is in the freedom movement, all these great leaders were in the freedom movement of India. When British left and gave this artificial country the boundary or whatever you call it, and give it to the faithful Punjabi army. 37% of the army of Pakistan was from the British Indian Army. 13 August, they were the army of British, the servant of British. 14 August, they became the army of Jihadi Pakistan. And Balochistan was forcefully occupied. And the only leaders who could face the British colonialism were the Sindhi leaders and the Pashtun leaders and Baloch leaders. Systematically, what Pakistan army did, I discount all these leaders came before, later on, like Bhutto or Benazir or whoever came, they have to surrender to army to come to power, which is going on from 1947 till today. You cannot become a position of leadership of like a prime minister or president or all, provincial chief ministers and all. So you have to compromise. So what happens is in the beginning of when the Baloch leaders, they say we are not going to merge with Pakistan. They brought the resolution in the parliament and they say we are not going to merge with Pakistan. All those leaders were later on, when they occupied Balochistan, they were tortured. They spent all their life in jails, including my father. So this is the sad story of this country. Look at the condition of the people after creation of this Pakistan. Thousands and thousands and people were killed in the migration in the beginning, and even till today they don't know how to run the country. And this huge army was created, and this country was created to be it's like a mercenary country and mercenary army. Even today they are using this mercenary army and mercenary country. So we are working against that, that they should, the America and Western countries should open their eyes that Pakistan is a double standard country. As long as Pakistan exists, Baloch, Pashtun, Sindhi, people from Gilgit-Baltistan, from Kashmir, they will not get any benefits because this huge army, Pakistan does not have an economy to feed this huge army. So they are plundering and looting the resources of other provinces. Like they're looting the gold of Balochistan, the mineral resources of Balochistan, the ocean wealth of Balochistan. They are looting the gas of Sindh, gas of Balochistan, and they're looting the resources of Gilgit-Baltistan. They call it Kashmir, but this is a Jammu area. And all those resources they are being used for this huge army. So this country, as long as it exists, is going to be a beggar country. Now they have become an international beggar. The drowning of Sindh, the drowning of Balochistan, and consequently begging in the name of Sindh flood and Balochistan flood, they're feeding this army, they're feeding the Punjab. They are not. This money is not going to go to the people who are suffering from the flood in Balochistan and Sindh. So as long as this Pakistan exists, the majority in the National Assembly is a Punjabi majority. And the army is a majority Punjabi army. So my message to those nations, they're gonna stay with this country and be in the miserable situation. There's no education, there's no infrastructure, and they're only creating and promoting jihadism. We want to educate our people to become scientists, to become engineers, to use their own resources to flourish. As long as Pakistan exists, Balochistan, Sindh, Pashtunistan, Kashmir is not going to flourish. So the people have to rise against this jihadi army and against this. You see the cultural changes they are bringing in the Sindh, the Sufism of Sindh is being eliminated. Beautiful Sindh, what they are making out of the Sindh. The original Sindhi Hindu people cannot live in their own land. They have been look at the civilization they have created in Sindh, and now they cannot live in their own land. This is the sad story of Pakistan, and people like Jinnah being celebrated, and G.M. Sayyid is stay in jail. So that's not acceptable to us, and that's why we are doing the awareness campaigns in United States, and back home also people listen to us and see that what is happening in Pakistan and what is going to be the future of Pakistan. Like when Sardar Ataullah Khan Mangal came in 2001 in Washington, I was with him in one of the press conferences. He told the press of Pakistan, he said, we have a bad habits of talking against Pakistan. But let me tell you one thing. The army of Pakistan is enough for you to destroy your country. And we're going to see that it's going to come. And today we see that they cannot feed their army. And this country cannot sustain. The only thing we have to do is the Sindhis should rise, the Baloch should rise, the Pashtuns should rise, and kick them out of their land and control their land and control their destiny and use the resources for the people of Balochistan and Sindh and Pashtunistan and Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. As long as this country exists, is a curse for the region, is a curse for the whole world. That's my take. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Razak. And that is absolutely true. You mentioned the beg that happens, but I often say the Pakistan elite is the most privileged, the most fabulously rich beggar class in international diplomacy, while none of it really trickles down to the real victims, especially outside of Punjab. And we pray for them. We hope that they find their legs again. Flood affected victims in Balochistan, Sindh, and the Pashtun areas, and so forth. And unlike GM Said, who's a math conviction, the Pakistani elite, they don't have convictions except power and wealth. But as we saw, GM Said's convictions changed. He had a sort of a Damascene conversion. He understood the deceit lay at the heart of the experiment called Pakistan. To speak more about this, we are joined right now by Jeay Sindh. Shahid is an author. He is a novelist and he was a former lecturer at the Language Institute in Monterey, California. He is an Afghan American, and he is also a human rights activist and a member of the PTM, that is the Pashtun Tahaffuz movement. So, Shahi Saab.
Thank you so much. Bahut mehrabani. Thank you, Kar Sahab, Zafar Bhai, Razak brother, Thank you so much. It's honor to be here today. We are not mourning. We are celebrating celebrating our great leader. It's not just the leader of Sindhis. That he is the leader. Jeay Sindh is the leader of every oppressed nation, every oppressed person. He's in ideology, his idea. This is why the state of Pakistan, the fascist state of Pakistan, cannot accept him, even his name. They try to remove his name from the history, but it's impossible. Going back to Sain James Saab, if you see the whole, the history of human being, messengers come and go, and always to oppress nation, people such as James Said come with the idea, and then he leaves idea and he go back. He came here with his idea, and now this was the job, and this is the job of all the oppressed people to follow. If you want to be free, if you want to be have our own land, our own country, our own destiny, we must, few things we must do. We have to trust ourselves. We have to be committed, trust ourselves, and as well united. These are few things that James Said, if you see James Said, if you see his life, he was always connected to Baloch, to Pashtun, to Sindhis. He was a close friend to Bacha Khan, and this is his legacy. This is why we are here. We have to follow that path. If we don't, you see what happened yesterday. You saw that the Pakistani establishment killed one of the great human rights activists who are defending the human rights, the every oppressed people. So this is exactly what they're targeting. This is exactly what they're doing to us. So being here, I tell to all my Afghans, Pashtuns, and all other Afghans that we have to not only read about him, learn about him, but follow his path. If we really want to be a free people, independent people, and be respected, and follow the J.M. Saab's path. We can talk later about, but I'm mostly listening here. I'm here to, I listen to Mr. Zak Saib, Mr. Zafar Saib. I want to learn more. While ago, I was when I came here to the United States, and believe me, I didn't have any knowledge. I had a very, very small piece of knowledge about all these leaders. And when I went deeper and deeper, and there was a Sindhi brothers. One of the Sindhi brothers sent me some information and about Bacha Khan. I was really, really, I feel so sad inside that this great leader, their name are hidden from us. The state of Pakistan didn't let them to shine. Because once we know about J.M. Said, or once we know about Bacha Khan, and once we know about their real struggle, then here there come question in our minds. Once we have question about the states of Pakistan, then there is the end of that state. There's the end of that fascist state, and we see how they oppress the Baloch. Few hundred bodies their organs are removed, and the world is watching. One thing I want to, I'm sorry, I went too long, but one thing I want to tell everyone, and that is, I believe that human rights organizations are, these are just a show. One woman in Waziristan, she was raped 40 times by Pakistani soldier, 40 times. Did you ever hear any human rights organization? No. The same thing happened to Sindhis, the same thing happened to Baloch, the same thing happened to every Pashtun. And still, you see some of the United States, they call him a strategic partner. So this job, our job is to stand like Jeay said to us, to stand to our right, to defend our right. The only way we can be free, we have to stand. And we have to be united. Wherever a Sindhi raise their flag, we have to go there. Wherever Baloch raise their flag and calling for the rights of their oppressed people, we have to stand there. This is the only solution. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Call, Mr. Zafar brother, Razak Bhai. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shahi Saab, and I completely agree. If human rights are indivisible, and we have to stand up for the rights of our brothers, no matter what ethnicity they are. And you mentioned that you really learned about Basha Khan Saab and GM Said and so forth after you came out of Pakistan. Whereas in India, Basha Khan taught to students right through school as a national leader from the Fatiha province. I grew up partly in India, and I learned about him as my leader, one of my leaders. So it's very interesting. I'm going to hand it back to Zarsai if you had any closing comments. Zafar, you're muted.
Shahi Saab, thank you so much for joining with us. And Kal Bhai, there are few pictures and videos still they are coming, because a lot of our sisters and children and political workers are arrested, maybe in the thousands. So that's why I was distracted, because every time the messages are coming. So if you can play these videos and pictures, that will be good.
Sure, let me share my screen again.
Yeah.
And I'm going to.
के सन में ब्रेक न्यूज नहीं डालू था सन में कॉम्प्लेक्स कार्टून ने पुलिस रेंजर पर सीधी फायरिंग कई वई है, जिन नतीजे में एक कॉम्प्लेक्स कार्टून गोली लगन कर शदी जख्मी थी पियो है। वेरियन मौजूद सन शहर में सिग्नल को बंद किया गया है।
Okay. Got a few photographs I'll share.
Yeah.
Is selling literature. You see here damage to a vehicle at this demonstration. You see used shells that were fired. It's a sampling of the books. We just saw the video clip of an injured person in the firing. And finally, a collage of posters.
Yeah, Kal Bhai, see, our people, my nation, what we are doing, we are selling books, we are selling literature in Sun. And these criminals, Pakistani agencies, They are shooting us. You see the holes of these you know of guns, right?
Yes.
When we are selling books, we are going to have a rally to attend Saint GM Sayed's birthday. Our sister, she is selling the books, she is giving books, and in return we are getting these holes. 3 4, still four of our political workers, they are in critical condition, and one is already died. The young guy, he they took him to the hospital, but he didn't make it, and he died. So such kind of fascism, why why United States, why United Nation, why Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, why they are still supporting this fascist terrorist state of Pakistan? We are historical nation. We love books. We are secular. We want to be a progressive nation to go along with the world, with the civilized world. But these Punjab dominated Punjabi military, I am not racist, but when they are doing crime, of course I have to take the name of them. When someone is looting us, someone is suppressing us in the name of religion, I will take the name of that religion. Because if you will give us these bodies of my sons, of my brothers, how we will feel? Pakistan Rangers, which is mostly Punjabi Rangers. Pakistani military, which is mostly Punjabi, 75% to 80% is Punjabi military. That's why Sain G.M. Sayed said that Sindhi, Baloch, Pashtun people should come together to get their freedom from this radical Islamist fanatics. They are just looting our resources, and same time they are killing us. These are proofs why I wanted to show these pictures, why I wanted to show these videos, because these are the proofs. It is not happened with us only. 2 weeks before, you can see same thing in Balochistan. They were grabbing Baloch women, youngsters, kids on the streets, throwing them in police vans and military state intelligence vans. Same thing happened few weeks ago with Pashtun people. So why there is nothing happening in Punjab? Because Punjab and Punjabi elite class and military establishment, they are actually the real owners of Pakistan. We will be happy. Okay, take your Pakistan. We don't want your Pakistan, but don't give us the bodies of our brothers. Don't give the bodies of our youngsters who are the future of our generations. What will happen and what will go with the father and mother of this young son whose age is only 20? These jihadi minds, Islamist groups, they have to understand, this Pakistani state has to understand that they are killing innocent pupils, and these crimes will come one day to them. These crimes they are committing, these crimes will come to them one day. They did in Bangladesh and nobody asked them. So they are happy that okay, we will do same with Sindhi, Baloch and Pashtun people. No, Bangladesh was far away. That's why people didn't reacted to West Pakistan. But we are all together. Our boundaries are together. If these atrocities, Punjab dominated Pakistan is not stopping and not going to give the right to self determination, which is our birthright as per UN Charter. We are sharing the borders. If they will give us the tortured bodies and they will shoot our uh, brothers and political workers, same thing will come to them one day. That's all. And thank you, Call Bhai. Thank you, Shai Bhai. Razak Sain, thank you.
I second Zafar's this like one day come to you. We have to understand the geography. The main, the hurting point is Sindh. If the people of Sindh rise, Punjab is not going to get nothing from the ocean. That's the killing and choking point for them. I hope the Sindhi brothers will understand that. Cut off their supplies, choke them. We don't want our dead bodies of our leaders, Sindhi leaders. They put them in the car and burn them. So when the first science said, it comes to them this way. Because a landlocked, Punjab is landlocked, has been landlocked. So they don't want to learn the lesson what they did in Bangladesh. They don't want to learn the lesson what they're doing in Sindh, what they're doing in Pashtunistan, what they're doing in Balochistan. We are human beings. That's why when we meet the congressmen and people who are here, we tell them only Ukrainian people are not human beings. We are also human beings. So you have to open yourself to us. As long as this artificial country and this mercenary army is milking you, now they are again trying to milk the Western countries and America to survive. Without Sindh, without Balochistan, without Pashtunistan, without Kashmir, without Gilgit-Baltistan, Pakistan cannot survive. We have no problem. Take your Punjab, enjoy your buffaloes, enjoy your lassis. We have no problem with that. What you did to Bulle Shah's country, you are not ashamed. You are ashamed to even talk in Punjabi. You are ashamed, but we are not ashamed. We love our languages. We love Pashto language. We love Sindhi language. We love Baluchi language. We love Gilgit-Baltistani language. Let us bring those days again, so that we all live in peace and harmony. That's how the whole region is a peaceful region. Only this jihadi army just to make money and get out and run away from the country. They are just plundering and they're blind. They just try to grab and run, take the money and run. Remember that movie. So the Pakistan Army generals has learned this. Take the money and run. That's why today the state of Pakistan is like this. People have nothing to eat. So our people must rise and choke up the lifeline of this jihadi army, and they're going to learn in no time. They're going to surrender. That's my take. Thank you.
Thank you, Razak Sahab. Yes, it's very interesting that while Punjabi language is subservient to Urdu within Pakistan. The Pakistani state promotes Punjabiyat on both sides of its borders towards the Pashtun side, insinuating that Pashtuns were basically Punjabis, and on the Indian side with the Indian Punjabis. So that's very strange policy they have. Shahi Saab, did you want to end with
Yeah,
a few words?
thank you. I would like to add one thing. This message is to Pashtun, those Pashtun, Baloch, and Sindhis who are working for the fascist state of Pakistan. One Punjabi journalist who was ISI, remember, he was killed. And what the whole Pakistan was shaking. Why? Because this one life was so important to them. But your brothers and sisters and children are killed daily, and you are still working for that state. You shame on yourself. If any Pashtun who go to kill Baloch or Sindhi working for Pakistan army, he is the enemy of humanity. He is the enemy of his own people. He has to look his brother and sister in Waziristan. He has to look this woman who was raped 40 times. And he has to watch those clips, the daily beating Afghan women and in the street. You have to watch those clips. This is my message. It's exactly message for those collaborators of those who are Sindhis or Baloch and spying on their own people. You the most disgraced people you are. You are the worms in the body. You are destroying humanity. You are more worse than the enemy because you are facilitating everything. You are part of the target killing. Stop working for that fascist state. Live your dignity life, dignified life. If you are a free nation, if Balochistan is a free nation, your life will be 1,000 times better. You will have all these resources. Look, what's the whole resources is going to Punjab. And the same thing with Sindhi. Sindhi is a land of islands, beautiful islands, history. The world will come there. People will come there. And you will see a different. You wouldn't go to Europe or other place for work. And you Pashtuns, you're working in going. You have resourceful country, land, but you're going work in Dubai and all those. You have to watch those things. In Punjabis are doctors, the Punjabis are engineer, Punjabis here in United States, they have buildings. In Europe, they have islands. You have to watch that thing. Remember this thing. Thank you so much. Thank you, Carl. This was my last remarks, and thank you so much. Thank you, Zafar Bhai and Razak Bhai.
Very good, Sadat Bhai. Very good. Very well said. Very well said.
Thank you. Thank you. Very well said. Yeah, really. Thank you, Razak Saab. Thank you, Karl bhai.
Thank you, Shahi Saab. Let me just end with a verse from Sindhi Sufi poet Shah Bittai. I'm going to share it so people can also read it. I won't read the Sindhi, but the English translation goes, Zafar Sai and others were talking about the dead bodies.
I will read it. I will
Please.
read it, and then
Please
you
do.
go
Please.
with the translation.
Please.
Via more mari, hanj न रहियो हेकड़ो. Via more mari, hanj न रहियो हेकड़ो. वतन थियो वरी कूड़न कायरन जो. Go
Thank
ahead,
you.
Karl bhai.
And the translation, as we were talking about the dead bodies of our sons and brothers coming back, all the swans have died, not a pea bird doth remain. Ah, this our native domain is now the abode of carrion crows, and vultures. We hope that the victims of violence, the victims of the floods in Pakistan, receive the help that they are entitled to. And we hope that there's a rebirth of swans amongst the intellectuals of Pakistan and the leaders, that they all come together for the rights of one another. Thank you all for joining us, Razak Saab, Shahi Saab, and Zafar Sain.